Hello friends, welcome back to our Spring Security series. In the previous video, we successfully set up JWT authentication by adding essential security components like authentication entry point filter, auth token filter, and custom access denied handler, along with configuring our security config classes. Now in this video, we move forward by implementing user registration and login. You will learn how to create a new user account with secure password handling. You will also learn how to implement a login endpoint that generates a JWT token, validate user credentials, and return appropriate responses. By the end of this video, you will have a fully functional authentication system using Spring Security and JWT. Let us dive in. So, in this video, I want us to start by creating a request class. I want us to start by creating a request class. Inside our JWT in Spring Security, create a new package, call this request, and then I will also create a new package. I will call this response. So the first class that I am going to create is sign up request. Sign up request. I am going to add at getter, at setter, at all arguments constructor, and at no args constructor. Then I am going to define various fields. The first field is username. So I will say private string username. I am also going to define another one, email address, private string email. The other one is set of roles, private set of role, because a user will be associated with role. Then finally, private string password. So those are the four fields that I want us to define inside this class. Now, before that, I want us to do some custom validation that you already know very well. So I don't want my username to be blank. So I want to add that validation at not blank. I also want our username to be between 3 and 20 characters. So I will say at size. So inside the size, I will pass the min to be 3 and max to be 20 characters. Let me pass 5. So I want to validate the email. The first thing is that it should not be blank, at not blank. The other one is at size. I want the email to have a maximum of 100 characters, not to have a very big email. And I also want it to be a valid email. Okay. So we can also add the message. It is good practice to add the message that username cannot be blank. Okay, username cannot be blank. I also want to add a message here. Username should be between 5 and 20 characters. Okay, so I want to copy this. I want to copy this message and I want to put it here. This is an email, so email cannot be blank. I want to copy this inside my roles. Password cannot be blank, so password cannot be blank. The purpose of size validation, it also help to prevent also SQL attack or malicious attack. So let us also give it a size. Let us give it size also. So for the case of password, I want the password to be between 6 and 40 characters. Max between 6, 40. No, I want the password to be between 8 and 40 characters. So this role you can either add at setter and at getter. And I am done with this. I am done with this. So we have our username, we have our email, we have our set of roles, and we also have our password. The next class that I want us to create is called message response. New Java class. I will call this message response. Message response. And inside here, I'm just going to create private string response message. The response message, it is basically a string. I want to copy all this message response. Sorry, I should paste them there at the top. Now I have my two classes. The next thing that I am going to do is I want to go inside my service class and create a user service. I want to create a user service. So inside my service class, I want to create new Java class. This one will be called user service, and this is going to be an interface. So it is going to be an interface. Just provide the signature. It will just provide the signature. So for this case, I am going to say message response register user. Then here I am going to pass sign up request. So I want to create a user. So inside the implementation, I want to create user service impl, and this implements user service. So that means that I have to implement that register user method, and this should be annotated with at service. Remove this unused import at service. This a bin. So now I want to add several things to our user service implementation. I want to add several things. So the first thing that I will add is user repository. So inside here, we say private final user repository. I also want to add role repository, private final role repository. I also want to add bcrypt password encoder, private bcrypt password encoder. I will call this password encoder. Those are the three things that I want to add for now. So let me add this into my code, So basically, I want to explain to you the logic that we are going to perform. So it is very, very good to explain the logic that we are going to perform. So we are going to register user. But before registering user, there are several things that we are going to do. One, we are going to check if username exists. Two, if email exists, because username should be unique and also email should be unique. Are we together that place? Then we are going to create user object. We're going to create user object. Then we are going to get user roles. Then get user role. Then set user attributes. Set user attributes. And finally, create user account. Create user account. So let us begin with the first part. So this code will be very self-explanatory. So I will say if user repository dot exist by username, and I will pass in sign up request dot get username. So that means that user already exists. So what do? I will return new message response, and inside here I will say error. Then I will say username already exists. Username already exists, or username already taken. Username already taken. So I will copy this method and I will come here. So exist by email. Exist by email. Exist by email. Sign up request dot get email. Get email. Sign up request dot get email. So this one I will say email is already in use. Email is already in use. Now I want to create these methods, these two methods here. So I want to create these two methods inside our repository. So the first method will go into the DB and check whether user exists. It will check whether user exists. So string username. The other one, if I go back there, exist by email, boolean exist by email. It will go into the database, select all from user where username is this. Okay, yes. Now let us continue with our service implementation. So now we are at this stage of creating a user object. So let us continue with creating our user object. So how will we go about creating a user object? So I will say user. Want to increase the brightness so that you can see well. User is equals to new user is equals to new user. User is equals to new user, and inside here we want to pass the 4 parameter. So I want us to pass sign up request dot get username, sign up request. Let me put them on a new line. Sign up request dot get email, sign up request dot get password, but remember this password should be encrypted. This password should be encrypted. Therefore, rather it should be hashed. Therefore, I recall password encoder dot encode. It will encode my password so that my password will not be stored as raw text. The other part is to get the rows. So I will say set of string. User may have more than one rows. Str rows is equals to sign up request dot get row. Sign up request dot get row. Okay. Sign up request dot get row. Don't know why provided is a set. So inside my sign up request, what did I define inside my sign up request? Because it is expecting a set of string, but instead, what did I define there? For the case of row, set of row. Yeah. So this one should be set of string, not row. That is why that piece of code is crying. Think the cry is over. So user details. So not the user details, but user service. You see the cry is over. Now we have obtained our role. Now I want us to do some checks before setting the role in our user request. I want us to do some checks before setting the roles, and some of the checks is we want to check whether the role is empty, and if the role is empty, we pass a default role, maybe role user. Okay, yes. So I will say role, then I will say if str, let us import role. So if str role is equals to null, or str rows dot is empty. If it is empty, what do? We should say row is equals to row repository dot find by row name. We don't have this method yet. Dot find by row name. So app row dot row user, because we want to give this user the row user. So let me create this method inside the rows repository, find by rows name. So I want to give this row user dot or else dot or else. So what do I want to do? I want to or else. Okay, this thing should be I don't know why it is throwing that error, but I presume the reason is because this should be optional. This method should be optional. Okay, should be optional to handle null. Java 8 feature optional that was introduced to handle nulls. Okay, now so dot or else. So I want it to throw if the error is not found. Remember, we are searching the raw user into the database and give it to a user if a user have no particular role, or else throw. What do I want us to throw? I want us to throw a new runtime exemption. New runtime exception, and I will say error is not found. Error is not found. Okay, then I will go to else. Else mean the error is there. Okay, now we want to format the error properly. So I will say error is equals to role repository dot find by role name. So I will say app role dot no. I think basically what we are supposed to do is we are supposed to get now the role. We are supposed to go through the list of roles. Now, up to this point, if this part of code is false, we are going, that means that we have a list or a set of roles, and we want to go through this set of roles doing some check. If the role is equals to admin, we are going to update and get the role admin, else get the role user. So this else part, what are we going to do? We are going to say string role str is equals to str roles dot iterator dot next. This will iterate through the set of roles. If role str dot equals admin. If role str dot equal admin, what do? We get the role admin. We just update the role and say role is equals to role repository dot find by role name app role dot role underscore admin. Okay, yes, and remember we should add this dot or else through error role not found. Else part, else mean the role is user. Else mean the role is user. So what we will do, we will get the role underscore user. We will get the role underscore user. Now the other step after this is to set user attribute. To set user attribute. To set user attribute. That is the other thing that we are going to do. Set user attribute. So remember, we are not saving sign up request, but rather we are saving the user request. We are not saving the sign up request, but rather we are saving the user request. We are saving the user request. So what are we supposed to do up to this point? We are going to do several checks. We are going to do several checks. So the first, not really a check, but rather we are going to set the user attribute. We are going to set the user attribute. So we are going to say user dot set account non-locked. Set account non-locked. Let us set true. Remember, these are the attributes that are not in the user sign up request. User dot set account non-expired. Account non-expired true. Also, I want not expiry date but account. Set account non-expired true. So I also want us to set credentials non-expired. User.set credentials non-expired. This will be set to true. And then user.set enabled. Yes, let us set it to true so that our account is enabled. Then user.set credentials expiry date. So I want the credential to expire after 1 year. So I will say local date dot now dot plus years and I will put 1. So this one will expire after 1 year. Also account expiry date also 1 year. User.set account expiry date local date dot now dot plus years plus 1 year. So it will expire after 1 year. Then user.set two-factor enabled. This should be false because it is the user who should be given the liberty to enable multi-factor authentication. User.set sign up method. This is email. This is email. Then I will say user.set role. I will set the role. Okay. Then I will save the user repository dot save user repository dot save user. Then I will say return new message response. Up to this point, user registered successfully. User registered successfully. So user has been registered successfully. So set user attribute. At this point is where we are setting the user attribute. Create user account. We are creating the user account at this point. So up to that point, I think we are good to go. We are good to go. What we will do, we will create a controller. And basically what will be the name of this controller. So I want us to go to the controllers. I want to create a new controller, Java class. I will call this auth controller. And I am going to give this auth controller at request mapping. So the first annotation is at rest controller. Remember, if you did not watch my videos from the beginning, I recommend you to watch them. Then there is at request mapping. So how do I want to map my request? I want to be /API/v1. It is good practice to version /auth. Then inside here, I want to create a method. Okay. So this method will be, so before that I want to inject user service, private final user service, and I want to inject this inside my controller. Okay, so basically I want to create an endpoint to create user. So I will say at post, it will be post method at post mapping. So inside here, post mapping, it will be /public /signup /public /signup. The reason why I am putting is /public/signup is because we excluded this from requiring authentication /API/v1/auth/public then or inside our security config. Do you remember this piece of code here? So that is why we have to follow that. Otherwise, you will be required to be logged in to create an account, which does not make sense. Public response entity, response entity, response entity, response entity. I will use generic. So I will say create user into bracket at request body, at request body. So I will say sign up request, sign up request. So that is the only thing that I need. Then I will say return new response entity. So I will say user service dot register user, and I pass the sign up request, comma. I want to return the HTTP status, HTTP status dot OK, dot OK. So that is the status that is returned when user is created successfully. HTTP status dot OK. So friends, that is all about user sign up. That is all about user sign up or register. So basically, this is the summary of what we have done. This is the summary of what we have done. So this is just an endpoint whereby we want to create a user account, but first of all, we want to check whether your email exists and also username exists and return appropriate error. Then we create a user account and pass the attribute. So the first step is to get the roles. So this will be a set of roles. Then check if the roles are empty. We fetch the default role for the role user, and if role user is not found, return role not found. Else means that this string is not null. If it is not null, we iterate through the list of roles, and for each role we check for admin and return role and set the role to be role admin. Otherwise, set the role to be role user. Then set other properties that are not there in our sign up request. Set also the roles, and then save the user to the database. So that is all about sign up endpoint. In the next video, we are going to look at user login endpoint. So stay tuned.